For the past 9 years, I've been tracking supply chain disruptions for major grocery chains. While everyone's panicking about egg prices and arguing over butter, I've been quietly watching the discontinuation lists that retailers don't advertise. Number 9 on this list is sitting on your shelf right now. Final shipment hits in 6 weeks, and most people have no idea it's about to vanish for good. The problem is that when major chains pull a product, they don't announce it. They just let inventory run dry. Back in 2022, I watched this happen with 4 different brands in 1 month. Shelves looked full until they didn't. By the time people noticed, replacement costs had tripled. Here's what's actually getting pulled in 2026, the exact timeline, and what you need to grab before March final shipments. And look, if you want to stay ahead of this stuff instead of finding out when shelves are already empty, hit that subscribe button right now. I track this full time, so you don't have to. Let me start with number 1, and this one's going to make you check your pantry immediately. Progresso traditional soup line. Not the entire brand, but 11 specific flavors in the traditional lineup are getting discontinued permanently. Final production runs are scheduled for late February. Final shelf delivery by March 18th. Here's what nobody's talking about. These aren't slow sellers. Progresso is consolidating the higher margin items in their new premium line that costs $2 more per can. I got this directly from a regional distributor who's been with them for 15 years. He told me the company's betting that loyal customers will just switch to the pricier versions rather than change brands. The specific flavors getting axed include chicken cheese enchilada, homestyle chicken, and Manhattan clam chowder. Here's why this matters beyond just soup. These are the affordable, ready-to-eat options that people actually stock for emergencies. The cans have a 4-year shelf life. They're under $3 right now, and they require zero prep. Last winter, when we lost power for 6 days, we went through 9 cans. Didn't need to cook, didn't need to think. Just heat and eat. If you got any of these 11 flavors in rotation, buy a case now, not next month. Now, once March shipments clear, you're looking at either paying premium prices or switching to brands that frankly don't taste as good. I checked 3 stores last week. Stock levels are still normal, which means the average shopper has no clue this is coming. A case of 12 costs $32 at most major chains right now. That's feeding your family for days at less than $3 a meal. Meanwhile, those premium replacement versions Progresso wants you to buy for $79 per can. Do the math. Number 2 is going to surprise you because it's a breakfast staple. Kellogg's all-brand original cereal. Complete discontinuation. The company filed the internal memo in January. Final production is 2nd week of March. Now, before you think this is just about cereal, understand what all brand actually is. It's one of the few affordable high-fiber options that lasts forever and doesn't need refrigeration. 27 grams of fiber per cup. Your body needs fiber to function, especially in high-stress situations. I learned this the hard way during a 2-week situation in 2021 where our supply chain got disrupted and everyone in my house was eating processed food. Within 5 days, everyone felt terrible. Not sick, just sluggish and miserable. All brand in the pantry would have solved that. Here's the insider part. Kellogg's is killing this because profit margins are too thin and the demographic skews older. They're betting younger consumers won't notice, and older consumers will switch to their Fiber Plus line, which costs 60% more per ounce. I tested this. Fiber Plus tastes worse, has less fiber per serving, and the box is designed to look bigger while containing less product. A box of all brand right now costs $4 and contains 18 ounces. It lasts 18 months unopened. You can eat it straight, mix it into anything for a fiber boost, or use it for baking. When I opened a box that was 14 months old last fall, it was absolutely fine. Stock runs are already getting thin at Walmart and Target. I checked inventory data, and replenishment orders are marked as final. If you got digestive issues, if you're stocking a pantry, or if you just want affordable fiber that isn't a $30 supplement, grab 3 or 4 boxes this week. Because in April, your only options will be expensive alternatives or generic brands that frankly aren't the same. Number 3 sounds boring, but this is absolute gold if you know what you're doing. Goya dry black beans in the 5-pound bag. Not the canned beans, the dry bags. Goya is discontinuing the 5-pound format and moving exclusively to 1-pound bags. Final orders for the 5-pound went in last month. Last shipments arrived mid-March. Here's why this matters. Price per pound. Right now, a 5-pound bag costs $5.49 in most stores. That's $1.10 per pound. The 1-pound replacement bags are being priced at $2.29 each. You're looking at more than doubling your cost for the same product. Plus, you're creating 4 times the packaging waste. I've got 5-pound bags in my pantry that are 2 years old, stored in a cool, dry spot. Still perfect. Beans last decades of store-right. But even in the original bag, they're good for years. Last spring, I cooked a batch from a bag I bought in 2022. No difference in taste, texture, or cook time. A 5-pound bag gives you 15 cups of cooked beans. That's 30 servings of complete protein for $5. Show me another protein source that's cheap, that doesn't need refrigeration, and lasts years. You can't. During shortages, beans are one of the first things to disappear because everyone knows they're essential. But most people grab the cans because they don't want to deal with soaking and cooking. The dry beans, they sit there longer. I watched this exact pattern in March 2020. Canned beans were gone in 2 days. Dry beans lasted another week. Here's what I do. Grab 4 or 5 of these bags now while they're still available. If you want them to last even longer, transfer to food-grade buckets with a lid, throw in an oxygen absorber, and you've got a 30-year food supply for under $30. Let me pause here for a second. Look, grocery prices are rising faster than most people can keep up with, and these discontinuations are just making it worse. I've put together a free pantry priority list that covers the exact 30 items you should stock before supply gets tight, organized by shelf life and cost per meal. It can feed a family of 4 for 2 weeks and costs less than a single grocery run. You can grab it free in the description, so you can stop guessing and start actually building a pantry that makes sense. Number 4 is one that's going to make home bakers very upset. Gold medal better for bread flour in the 10-pound bag. Complete discontinuation across all regions. This isn't a rumor. This is confirmed through distributor channels. Final mill date is March 4th. Final delivery to stores by March 25th. Now here's what makes this different from regular all-purpose flour. Protein content. Better for bread has a higher protein percentage, which means better gluten development, which means better rise and texture for bread. You cannot replicate this with all-purpose flour, no matter what the internet tells you. I've been baking bread for 6 years. I tested all-purpose against bread flour in back-to-back batches. The difference is obvious. Better structure, better chew, better crust. Gold medal is killing this product line because they can't compete with King Arthur pricing, and they'd rather consolidate production. The replacement they're pushing is their all-purpose flour with marketing copy that says it's versatile for bread. It's not the same at all. A 10-pound bag of better for bread costs $6.49 right now at most major stores. King Arthur bread flour, which is what you'll have to switch to, costs $11.99 for 5 pounds. You're looking at quadruple the cost per pound. Flour lasts a year in original packaging if kept cool and dry. Longer if you freeze it. I got bags from 8 months ago that are still perfect. If you bake even occasionally, buy 3 bags now. If you're serious about bread, buy 6. Once March shipments are gone, you're either paying premium prices or you're compromising your results. And if supply chains get disrupted again like 2020, good luck finding any bread flour at all. This is sitting on shelves right now at Target, Kroger, and most regional chains. Not for long. Number 5 is going to sound niche until you realize how many things you use it for. McCormick ground oregano in the 2.12-ounce container. Specific SKU discontinuation. The company is moving to a smaller 1.5-ounce container at the same price point. Final production of the larger size is late February. Last deliveries in March. Here's the game. You're getting 30% less product for the same money, and most shoppers won't notice because the container design looks similar. I confirmed this with a store manager who attended a McCormick vendor meeting in December. They're doing this across multiple spice lines, but oregano is one of the first. Now here's why oregano specifically matters. It's one of the most versatile shelf-stable flavor enhancers you can stock. Italian food, Mexican food, Greek food, even thrown into basic tomato sauce. A single container lasts me about 4 months of regular cooking. Oregano doesn't go bad for years if kept away from heat and light. I opened a container last month that was 3 years old. Still aromatic, still flavorful. The 2.12-ounce size currently costs $4.29 most places. The replacement 1.5 ounce will stay at $4.29, which means you're now paying almost $3 per ounce instead of $2. Multiply that across a dozen spices, and you're looking at real money. Most people don't track this stuff. They just notice their grocery bill keeps climbing and can't figure out why. This is why. Death by 1,000 cuts. If you cook with oregano regularly, grab 3 or 4 containers of the larger size now. Store them in a cool, dark cabinet, and you're set for 2 years. And when I get to number 11, you're going to see the same pattern with another pantry staple that's getting the shrinkflation treatment disguised as a discontinuation. Number 6 is legitimately going to shock you because it's a kid lunch staple. Welch's Fruit Snacks in the 80-count value box. Full discontinuation. Not the smaller boxes, just the 80-count bulk format. Final manufacturing run scheduled for first week of March. I got this from a Costco vendor representative who stocks these. The company is moving to a 60-count box at a similar price point, which again is just shrinkflation by another name. Here's what nobody thinks about. These aren't just kid snacks. They're lightweight, non-perishable, individually wrapped energy sources with a 2-year shelf life. I keep a box of these in my car, in my emergency kit, and in the pantry. Last year, when we had a power outage and the kids were stressed and hungry, these kept everyone calm. Pure sugar? Yes. But in a crisis situation, fast calories and familiar comfort food matter more than optimal nutrition. Each pouch is 80 calories. You can function on that. The 80-count box runs about $13.49 at most warehouse stores right now. That's 17 cents per pouch. The replacement 60-count is being priced at $11.99, which works out at 20 cents per pouch. Doesn't sound like much until you buy it consistently. Here's the real play. If you got kids, if you prep, or if you just want calorie-dense shelf-stable food that doesn't taste like cardboard, grab 2 or 3 of these boxes before March. They stack flat, they don't need climate control, and they last. I ate pouches from a box that was 18 months old. Tasted exactly the same. While preppers are spending $40 on freeze-dried fruit, you can get similar shelf life and better palatability for a fraction of the cost. Number 7, and this is the one I teased at the beginning, Campbell's Chunky Soup in the specific 18.6-ounce can size. They're discontinuing the size entirely and moving everything to 15.25-ounce cans. Final production end of February, last deliveries first week of March. This is shrinkflation masquerading as a format change. You're losing 3.35 ounces per can, but prices are staying identical. I ran the numbers. You're now paying 22% more per ounce for the same soup. Campbell's filed this as an operational efficiency update, but it's a margin play. Here's why the specific size matters. The 18.6 ounce can is an actual meal. 1 can, 1 person, 1 sitting. You're full. The new 15.25 ounce size is not quite enough, which means you'll open a second can or supplement with something else, which means you're consuming and purchasing more. I tested this myself 2 weeks ago. Ate the current 18.6 ounce size for lunch. Satisfied. Next day ate the smaller size they're rolling out. Still a little hungry. Ended up eating crackers and cheese. That's additional cost and additional calories I didn't plan for. If you're stocking chunky soup for emergencies or just regular lunches, stock up now on the current size. It can cost $2.68 on average right now. It's got a 3-year shelf life. I've got cans in my pantry from 2023. Still good. Buy a case or 2 of your preferred flavors while the current size is still available. Once the switch happens, you're getting less food for the same money, and you won't even realize it until you're staring at an empty bowl wondering why you're still hungry. Number 8 is going to hit coffee drinkers hard. Folgers Classic Roast in the 48-ounce container. Complete discontinuation of the specific size. The company is replacing it with a 43.5-ounce container at the same retail price. Final production mid-March. This follows the exact same playbook. Smaller product, same price. Hope consumers don't notice. I did the math. You're now paying 10% more per ounce. Over a year of regular coffee consumption, that's real money. A household that goes through one container a month is now paying an extra $15 to $20 annually for the same amount of coffee. Now here's what makes this particular change worse. Folgers is one of the last affordable grocery store coffees with decent shelf life. Unopened, it lasts up to 2 years. Opened and stored properly, it's good for months. I opened a container from 11 months ago last week. Tasted fine. Not gourmet, but absolutely drinkable. Coffee prices have been climbing for 2 years straight due to climate issues and supply chain problems. This size discontinuation is just another way to extract more money without announcing a price hike. The 48-ounce container currently runs about $12.49 at most stores. If you drink coffee daily, grab 3 or 4 containers now. Store them in a cool, dry place, and you're set for months. The new smaller container is already appearing in some test markets at the same $12.49 price point, which means the switch is coming fast. And if you think you'll just switch to another brand, check the sizes. Almost every major coffee brand has done this same move in the past 18 months. This is an industry-wide margin play. Number 9 is one that I personally use in almost every meal I cook. Bertolli Extra Virgin Olive Oil in the 51-ounce bottle. Discontinuation confirmed through multiple retail channels. Final bottling schedule for late February. Last shipments early March. Bertolli is moving to a 42-ounce bottle format at a nearly identical price. You're losing 9 ounces, which is 18% of the product. I called this out to the store manager, and he didn't even know. The shelf tags will stay similar. The packaging will look almost the same, and most shoppers will never notice they're getting less. Here's why olive oil specifically is worth stocking. It's one of the few fats with a genuine 2-year shelf life that doesn't need refrigeration and works for everything. Cooking, salad dressing, bread dipping, even emergency skincare. Your body needs fat. Not wants, needs. Especially in high-stress scenarios. Fat is calorie-dense. It makes food taste better, and it keeps you full longer. I keep 4 bottles in rotation at all times. Last summer, I used a bottle that was 16 months old. Zero rancidity. Tasted perfect. The 51-ounce bottle costs about $13.99 at most major grocers right now. That breaks down to about 27 cents per ounce. The new 42-ounce bottle is being priced at $12.99 in test markets, which works out to 31 cents per ounce. Over multiple bottles, you're talking serious money. If you cook regularly, buy 3 bottles of the current size before March. Store them in a cool, dark place away from the stove, and they'll last until 2027 easily. And when supply chains get tight, fats and oils are always among the first things to spike in price or disappear entirely. I watched this in 2021 when cooking oil shortages hit multiple regions. Prices doubled overnight. Number 10 is one that most people don't even think about until they need it. Swanson chicken broth in the 48-ounce carton, being discontinued in favor of a 32-ounce carton. Final production runs early March. This is the same shrinkflation pattern. Smaller product. Similar price. Hope nobody notices. The 48-ounce carton currently costs $3.29 at most stores. The 32-ounce replacement is being priced at $2.79, which actually looks like a price drop until you do the math. You're now paying 8.7 cents per ounce instead of 6.8 cents. That's a 20% increase in cost per ounce. Here's why chicken broth matters for stocking. It's the base for everything. Soup, rice, grains, rehydrating dried foods, adding flavor to bland emergency meals. It turns a boring pot of rice into something your family will actually eat. Food monotony causes decision fatigue. When everything tastes like cardboard, people get demoralized and make bad decisions. Broth solves this. A carton lasts about 18 months unopened. I used one last month that was 14 months old. Perfect if you cook from scratch or if you're building an emergency pantry. Buy 6 or 8 cartons of the 48-ounce size now. They stack easily, they don't need special storage, and they're shelf-stable until opened. Once you crack them, you've got about a week in the fridge, but most people use them faster than that. At $3.29 per carton, you're looking at about $26 for 8 cartons. That's enough broth to cook multiple meals for weeks. The new smaller format means you're opening more cartons more often and spending more money for the same amount of product. Number 11 is going to make anyone who bakes regularly very frustrated. Domino light brown sugar in the 4-pound bag. Complete discontinuation. The company is moving exclusively to 2-pound bags. Final production first week of March. Last deliveries by mid-March. This is pure packaging cost reduction framed as SKU simplification. The 4-pound bag currently costs $4.49 at most stores. That's $1.12 per pound. The 2-pound bags are priced at $2.69 each, which is $1.35 per pound. You're paying 20% more for the same sugar just because it comes in a smaller bag. Brown sugar lasts indefinitely if stored in an airtight container. I've got brown sugar from 2 years ago that I threw in a sealed container. Still soft, still usable. Even if it hardens, you can soften it in 30 seconds in the microwave with a damp paper towel. If you bake even occasionally cookies, cakes, barbecue rubs, oatmeal, grab 3 or 4 of the 4-pound bags now. Store them in airtight containers, and you're set for a year or more. This is another one of those quiet changes where your grocery bill just keeps creeping up and you can't figure out why. It's because they keep giving you less for the same money and hiding it behind format changes. A 4-pound bag takes up the same shelf space as 2 2-pound bags, so there's no storage penalty for buying a larger size now while it still exists. Number 12 is a condiment that people absolutely take for granted until it's not available. Heinz yellow mustard in the 20-ounce squeeze bottle. Specific size discontinuation. Heinz is consolidating to 14-ounce and 32-ounce formats only. The 20-ounce size is being phased out completely. Final shipments late March. This is a Goldilocks size problem. The 14-ounce is too small if you use mustard regularly, and the 32-ounce is too big for most households and goes bad before you finish it. The 20-ounce was perfect for regular users. I go through one every 6 weeks. Sandwiches, hot dogs, pretzels, salad dressing base, cooking glaze. Mustard is one of the most versatile condiments you can stock. It lasts a year unopened, and even open it's good for 8 months in the fridge. I finished a bottle last week that was 9 months old. Tasted fine. The 20-ounce bottle costs $2.79 right now at most stores. The replacement options are either $1.99 for 14 ounces, which is 14 cents per ounce, or $4.99 for 32 ounces, which is 15 cents per ounce. The current 20-ounce format is 14 cents per ounce, so you're not saving money with the new sizes. You're either buying more often or you're buying more than you need and risking waste. If you use mustard regularly, grab 4 or 5 bottles of the 20-ounce size now. They store fine in the pantry until opened, and even in the fridge they last forever. This is one of those changes that seems minor until you realize you're now making an extra trip to the store every month because your mustard runs out faster, or you're tossing half a giant bottle because it sat too long. Number 13, and this one is going to hit families with kids harder than most. Kraft mac and cheese in the 18-ounce family size box. Full discontinuation. Kraft is killing this size entirely and pushing consumers toward either the 7.25-ounce single boxes or the multi-packs. Final production late February. Final delivery early March. Here's the play. The 18-ounce box currently costs $3.69 and makes about 4 servings. That's 92 cents per serving. The 7.25-ounce boxes are $1.39 each and make about 2 servings. To get the same 4 servings, you need 2 boxes, which cost $2.78. Sounds cheaper, right? But you're getting 14.5 ounces total instead of 18. You're paying more per ounce and getting less food. The multi-packs are being positioned as the value option, but they cost more up front and you're locked into whatever flavors they bundle. I've got 3 of the 18-ounce boxes in my pantry right now. They last 2 years unopened. This isn't gourmet food, but it's fast calories that kids actually eat without complaining, and in a stressful situation that matters more than food snobbery. A box takes 7 minutes to make, requires only water, heat, butter, and milk. Last time we had a power situation, and I was cooking on a camp stove. This was a lifesaver. Simple, familiar, filling. If your family goes through mac and cheese regularly, buy a dozen boxes of the 18-ounce size before March. At $3.69 per box, That's about $44 for 12 boxes, which is 48 servings. That's less than $1 per serving for a complete meal that kids won't fight you on once the size disappears. You're either paying more per ounce or dealing with the hassle of multi-box purchases that don't fit your family size. So here's what you now know that most people shopping right now have no idea about. 13 specific products getting pulled from major chains in the next 8 weeks, all final shipments in March. And every single one of them is either a size reduction disguised as a format change or a straight discontinuation that forces you into pricier alternatives. While everyone else is wandering the aisles wondering why their grocery bill keeps climbing, you can grab these exact items at current sizes and current prices before they vanish. Drop a comment and tell me which of these 13 you're stocking up on first, or if you've already noticed any of these disappearing from your local stores. And next week, I'm covering the 9 grocery staples that every prepper hoards, but are actually terrible value and won't help you in a real shortage. You're going to want to see that one before you waste money on the wrong stuff. I'll see you then.